All right, all right. I need to change my stream title, I guess, even though there's not much of a difference. This is the Redux. This is attempt number 2 of livestream 52. Whoever's here, thanks for coming, even though URL in Discord. Okay, let me have a look. Did I fuck it up? Good evening, Degunzi. Where are you based? I thought you were European. Europeans should be asleep by now. But thanks for joining anyway. Let me just double check this URL. So you can see here in BIOS already that we're at 14 degrees. So the chiller is working. I decided to go direct dye today. Okay, let's check. Oh, God. That is a very wrong, very wrong URL. Just double clicking. Yeah, okay. Oh, it's all good. It's only 5:40 a.m. Are you still awake or awake again? Maybe I should put it in my rig comment that it's direct dye today. So that's all I've changed really. I've gone direct dye just because I wasn't happy with the thermal performance. Direct dye, okay. Yeah, so what I was seeing in my testing was that basically I couldn't go above 1.5 on this chip with the IHS in there. So now I can kind of do a run. The only problem with direct dye is you've got to sort of find the correct pressure, because if you clamp it down too much, semester break, nice. If you clamp it down too much, then you might bend the pins in the socket because there's no longer a retaining bracket. So this is actually the bracket that I took off of this Z77 OCF. Yeah, there's no longer a retaining bracket in there. That's the way you do direct dye. There may be ways with modded blocks and LN2 pots of doing it with the bracket in place, which is great because then it's much easier. But obviously with just a regular... By the way, I apologize in advance for any sneezing. It's spring and I have hay fever, and all I can do is take tablets for it, but they don't usually work. But anyway, or not well enough. For an unmodded block or pot, you've got to take out this bracket, which is easy enough. It's just got one of these Torx kind of screws, the same size in all three. That's easy to do, but then what you've also got to do is you've got to put the block on there, basically with the CPU just very light because the IHS is off. The IHS is basically the heaviest part of the CPU. This is my IHS. With that off, your CPU is really light, and you've got to sort of like basically tape it down or something, because otherwise when you're positioning the block it will come out. Hey Miller, thanks for joining. Good job on, what were your recent scores? You did some HEDT stuff, didn't you? Yeah, so today's stream is direct dye Ivy on chiller. Chiller is set to, I think, 12 degrees Celsius or so. That's all I'm going to go down to. If I go any lower than that, you run the risk of condensation and stuff. And anyway, it doesn't usually scale much with those last few degrees, so there's not much point really. So what should I do? I think I'm going to do an X265 run at, let's say, what's a good one to start off with? By the way, LLC, I just had the, well, the good news about me having to abort the stream on Friday because of technical issues is that I was able to mess around with LLC and stuff, and it does turn out, even though ASRock is famous for having very aggressive LLC, on this board you do actually need the highest level, level 1, to get a constant DMM readout. So I was getting a V-droop of about 20 to 25 millivolts, even on level 2. So there's 5 different levels, and basically 3, 4, and 5, and as far as I'm concerned, are completely insanely droopy. 2 and 1 are okay. 1 is the way I'm going to go, even for ambient. But let's go fixed voltage here. And I'm going to try a run at 1.55. The other oddity I found with this board, yeah, chiller fun. Yeah, Miller, I don't really run anything below chiller. Chiller would be sort of my ambient pre-testing platform. And then it's LN2. I don't, DICE is too expensive. My single stage is in long-term repair. I don't know if I'm ever going to get it back, and if my girlfriend is going to allow me to put it in my benching room. But yeah, I don't mess with DICE or anything below chiller, in between chiller and LN2. So what I found on this board is in OS you can't set a voltage above about 1.52 real if you set below 1.55 or so in BIOS. So I'm going to boot at 1.55, which obviously will get the reported temp a little bit higher, but I can't really. Huge fan, yeah. What kind of chiller do you have? Do you run regular water, or do you run a mix of glycol or whatever? Because I run just distilled water in here because I don't want to mess with like lots and lots of insulation and stuff. My aim really is to get sort of like a sane water temp in summer when our outside temperature is about 45. Well, in Fahrenheit it's like 110, 115 outside. Then I want a water temp of 20 Celsius. And then in winter, obviously, maybe that's not so much of a concern, but the thing that I like about it is if I'm binning chips, I can literally have the same plus or minus 1 Celsius for all the chips I've bin, and that gets rid of all sorts of issues. Like I find that basically mature audience. Yes, it is for mature audiences because I'm allowed to say fuck and all that kind of stuff on this stream. We've got lots of OCN guys on the stream now. I find especially for RAM, there's some ICs where you really, even in winter, don't want to mess with the temps going up throughout a stream or throughout a session. So I don't necessarily use the chiller to get a lower temperature on the die or dies on the RAM stake, but I use it to have the same temperature. And I don't really care what the temperature is as long as it's the same temperature on both sticks, or all 3 sticks, all 4 sticks. Yeah, no condensation issues. Let's just boot that up. By the way, if anyone has any tips on how to get the 2600 strap going on Ivy, I'm sort of an Ivy noob. I haven't fucked around too much with SA and IO. I'm just on auto, but I haven't been able to get the 2600 strap going. So I'm just BCLKing up from 2400, which is fine because I can go 7, 11, 7. Let's just apply that. 10K BTU, what's that? Minus 30 degree water. Yeah, that sounds tricky. Yeah, GDI, if you ever have any queries about what rig I'm running, just do a !rig in chat, and that should always be up to date. And I don't mind repeating myself, but just in case I'm busy benching or whatever, and you want to find out without asking me and waiting for the stream delay, this is the way of always getting the updated rig details in my streams. Okay, so let's do just a baseline X265 run with hardware info open. We would aim for package temp of ideally below like sort of 90, 95. You certainly don't want to go above 95. So let's just do a normal run. Hopefully you can see that. There's too many. There really are too many sensors in hardware info. All I want is CPU. Where are we at? CPU package. Okay, let's look at that. So 23 at the moment, which at 1.55 real really isn't a big surprise that it's so high. Wow, those temps are better than what I had yesterday. I tightened correctly. So Ice Storm IG. Wow. Okay, I might actually. Yeah, I might want to do that today. That's a good point. Yeah, I've got the background up and everything. So obviously it will go up. The surprising thing is, even though this is only a 4-core, 4-thread CPU on direct die. Yesterday I was seeing a lot of extra temps, a lot of extra heat, um, basically just by increasing the frequency. So I know that temperatures, in a sense, are a product of frequency by voltage, with voltage being weighted much higher. But it's sort of the first chip where I've seen, or the first architecture rather, because this is my first time running Ivy on direct die, where I've seen quite that much of an increase. But let me see if I can show you guys what I mean. So it is moving slow. It's, I haven't clocked up yet, and all that. So let's actually, I wish I could use my Rapid OC, but let's go Formula Drive. This version of Formula Drive is quite buggy. It reminds me of the Z170 version of Formula Drive in Windows 10. Yeah, okay, so thanks for the tip about iGPUs. This seems to be a pretty good timing for, at least on the weekend, for the East Coast US guys, because you can stay up late because it's Saturday night for you. As you can see, it's a nice and sunny spring day here in Sydney, and it's currently about 2 p.m. local time. So last time I checked, I was able to go up to about 102 BCLK, but or 102.5 probably. My RAMs are at 1.85. I think with the CPU fan, well, it's not the CPU fan, but the CPU fan header attached fan on top of the RAM, that's reasonable to go to 1.85. I was considering hooking up the water block, but fuck it. I just wanted the stream to start up. So 69. YOLO. I appreciate you prioritizing my stream over sleep. You can sleep when you're dead, right? Sleep is overrated. So yeah, for those of you who were not on the stream on Friday night, well, Friday night my time, probably more like Friday morning or Thursday night for most of you in chat. I had about 6 or 7 green screens on my streaming PC. For those who are unaware, I have an M-ATX streaming PC with a Vega Nano in there, 8 gigs of RAM, an 1800X Ryzen, and an Elgato streaming card. And it's served me quite well. I mean, it's able to encode on the CPU 1080p 60 FPS very, very well. But there was some issue. It was kind of weird. I think it was PSU related. So when I opened up the rig, I noticed that the 8-pin was partially removed from its socket, which that issue I've never had before. But I did have a cheapo PSU in there, so I took the opportunity. So now I took the opportunity to just throw in an Antec 1300 watt in there, which it's not going to stay in there. I need that for benching, but the cheapo PSU is a goner now. I'm not messing with that anymore. I might use it for fans and like the hot plate for LN2 and that kind of stuff, but I'm not going to use it for an actual rig anymore. I think I've learned my lesson there. Okay, that passes. So let's just, over the last couple of days, I discovered some of the features of this board or this platform. Let's go through them a little bit. One neat thing, which I'm sure the old timers will be more than familiar with, but I am not as familiar with, is in-OS timer changing. So I'm memory timing changes. I'm currently at 8.11.7. I wasn't able to post 7.11.7, and in fact the type profile is 8.11.7, so it must be something board related. But the last time I tried, I was able to set in OS, and of course now I'm not. That's a hard freeze. Let me demonstrate it at 100 BCLK. Oh, Miller, I'm surprised you haven't used this before. So, yeah, let me quickly rattle off some platforms where I know it works. So, Z77, board permitting, of course. Not since DDR2. Nice. So, Z77, board permitting, so the big Asus boards and the big Gigabyte boards and ASRock boards should be able to do it. I'm not sure about Haswell. I haven't tried it there. But where it also works, funnily enough, is the big 28-core sort of unlocked Xeon platform that Intel came out with recently. I remember seeing some posts on Facebook about in-OS timing changes. X79, I have yet to try, but the other platform where I find it very useful is X99, because what happens is to be able to post, at least on my SOC champion, I've got to go like 12, 11, 11, but the frequency is not very high. So then I can go into OS as my internet is having a little bit of a hiccup. Okay, all good. Yeah, for X99, what I find myself, oh, more drop frames. Just gonna wait that out. I did get a notification from my ISP that there would be maintenance, but it was not scheduled for today. So I hope they haven't pulled a quick one on me and done maintenance in exactly the couple of hours where I want to stream. Because I only stream once a week usually. So on X99, you basically, at least I find on my board, what works well is you boot up at a 3400, 12, 11, 11, and then you set it down to 10, 10, 10. And the gains are not huge in 32M, but of course it's worth it. I mean, any gain is worth it for X99, for 32M. I think I was using this profile. Let's make sure it's really the right one. But we want to go 1.55. See that dividing line? That's if you set below the red zone on this board, you can't go above the red zone in OS. If you're above it, then I don't think anything stands in the way of you going to like 2.1 volts, I think is the max. Okay. So yeah, in OS timing changes I have done on X99 and on this platform, but it wouldn't surprise me if the other platforms around that time have it. Like Miller said, X79 makes sense to me. Maybe even if X58 and Haswell. I'm not sure about older stuff than that, like Clackdale and Linfield. Come on. Fuck off, you piece of shit Intel. Management engine bullshit. Okay, I wanted to show timing changes at 100 BCLK. So let's try doing that. Of course it's not going to work. I tell you what, I'll change the timing up. Just to demonstrate it, I'll go like 8, 12, 8. Just to show that it works. That was a quick boot. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't think Skylake does it. Um, yeah, so what's everyone else benching these days? Okay, surely we can change this to 8. There we go, 8. And now I'm setting it back down. Ooh, magic. Okay, so 102 BCLK was all good. Yeah, the 170 OCF is great for some things. I reckon that for 1 and 2 way cards, for 3D benching, for legacy 3D benching, where you need XP, it's quite a good board. MOCFs die all the time, guys. Fucking hell, it's quite frustrating, to be honest. Oh, 9700K. I have one too. Mine does about 7G for 3D. I mean, it's not hard to get working on the Asus boards either, but the way I see it, the maximum is 10 Apex is a special board because it may end up being the last mainstream 4-way board. So I care about 3D, I care about Crossfire and SLI, and as far as I can see, it's going to be the last board because the current gen of both AMD and NVIDIA only do 2-way now. The Apex 11 is only a 2 or 3-way board, so it's going to have a relevance many years into the future, maybe indefinitely, just because it's 4-way. Okay, let's do 102.5 BCLK. And let's go up to like something sane like 45x. Where's our bench? Here's our bench. And just open the hardware info. Last time we topped out at 69 degrees. Just gotta find my package temp again. Here we go. Yeah, 6.2 on SS is really good. The best chips I've ever had would do around that, would do like 6G Legacy 3D 6.1. Yeah, XP on Maximum's 9 Apex is easy. I just reckon I don't know. I don't know what I can't really give a reason for this, but I just reckon that especially for um, like stuff like the 6700K, I would prefer to have an MOCF, but the two boards are close for sure. So it is relevant. Yeah, everyone uses bare bones image. Well, I'd like to use my MOCF, but it's dead. It's got it throws a 0 no matter what the chip in it. Uh, yeah, so it's not ideal. I do, yeah, it is the easy way. I do want to eventually fix it. So now we got 82 degrees, and that's all just. I'm still at the same. I'm still at the same voltage, and I'm at 82. Earlier I was at 69, so that's interesting. So so that was 82. Let's go up one multiplier and see if we can see extra temp. So basically everyone I know who's used an MOCF has gone through at least 2 or 3 boards. New. Man, what people wouldn't pay for a new MOCF with a receipt so you can RMA it easily, and oh man, that would be a dream. Sounds like GTI has got some connections. So now we're already at 86 degrees. So frequency, like I was saying, is interesting on this chip. Mint. Okay. So not an actual new board. So 86. So it seems like at the high frequencies we don't have much new from RMA. Nice. So what's the story with RMA on these boards? Do you need a receipt to be able to RMA? That's what I heard, but I haven't really looked into it myself yet. So 17.6, I think that might be close to the entry already I have in. Just having a look. Oh, no, I have an 18.777 in. Okay, let's keep pushing it then. That was 47x, I think. 46x, okay. 47x. So now we're already at 84, and we're sort of in the colder region of this bench. I would at some point like to analyze this run, this bench. Actually, like enable monitoring and save a graph of where it gets hottest and where it's put the most stress on the CPU and stuff. It would be interesting to know whether you could do something like really crazy, like changing BCLK mid-run, in case you're on the edge with memory or whatever. I think that would be interesting. You reckon this bench likes weird mem speed and timings? Hmm. In the sense that it doesn't necessarily want the highest, it just wants a specific setting? You talking tertiaries or primaries? Or secondaries? C15. Okay. Yeah, I don't do too much DDR4 benching. 2D. Hello, OC Formula, where art thou? Any day now? Yes. That didn't seem to apply. Okay, this is sort of the limit of this chip. Let's see if it does it. How long ago was that PSC on? Yeah, there we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to back off. Well, let's see if we can give it a little bit more V-core, if that helps at all. Can't mess around with Encore because that's tied to core on this platform. Last Team Cup. You didn't miss much, Miller. This is a chill out stream, not a pushing stream. Come on, Formula Drive. Hey, unsolicited. Welcome. It's going pretty good. This stream has not crashed yet, but I also don't want to jinx it. Yeah, close the fucker, of course. Let's just go for a clean launch. That might have done the trick. Yeah, I will test real time in a minute. I haven't sorted out the max clocks yet. Come on, Formula Drive. Overkill on this platform, because it's only 4 threads, doesn't seem to do very much. It doesn't seem to hurt. It doesn't really seem to help, from what I've tried. Okay, I think we might need a reboot. Jeez. Okay, a hard reset then. I mean, in general, Overkill helps in 2 ways. So it lets you run off screen while still seeing the progress of the bench, because you can just put the render window off screen, and that helps a bit with CPU utilization. And it helps when you've got so many threads that they can't all be rendering the same scene efficiently. So Overkill, for people who are unaware, it basically just renders the entire video twice, and then it applies some sort of a factor where if the two are perfectly in sync, then it just adds the two results. If one is slightly slower than the other, it kind of adds a sort of like an averaging factor um, to account for the desync. Because what you don't want is someone purposely, I don't know, like some weird stuff going on where someone is purposely slowing down one instance or whatever. So it has to sort of account for that. Okay, let's get back to business here. Let's do it with highway info enabled again, in case we should be able to see it from the score whether we're thermally throttling, but we don't really want to. So straight up 48x did not work, but we can go up in vCore a little bit. Fuck it, let's just go 1.6 just to see. There we go, 1.6. See if that does anything. It probably won't. It'll probably crash the bench again. But in case it doesn't, let's look at the package temps again. I sort of already know that this chip is... Okay, that didn't help. This chip is the worst. I've got three 3570Ks, and I kind of already know that this chip is potentially the worst one, so I don't care about degrading it, or... It's getting sold on eBay anyway, so... and this is a quick bench anyway, so... Yeah, I wouldn't want to go above 1.6, but I just saw it go to 93 degrees, so that's basically all you want is just no thermal throttling. And that seems to be kind of the limit. So let's go back to 1.55, and of course our other trick, well, other lever we can adjust is BCLK. So let's go in quarter increments. Just make sure that applied. It's definitely not more normal, but I have seen water runs with like 1.65 indicated in CPU-Z. So those enthusiastic people who really, really don't give a shit about their chips, yeah, to get like the top ambient score, people do like 1.65. But for that, you need really good paste. You need a really good mount on your block. You probably need I don't know what else. Maybe I don't know what these people are doing. I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but yes, you need a lot to go right for that to actually score higher and pass. We don't need to look at temps. Oh, we do need to look at temps actually. Yeah, so obviously your mileage may vary, and don't do this at home. But what I've found to sort of work is on chiller for Coffee Lake. I probably I really hesitate to go above 1.55 even for single threaded ancient benches where the load is tiny. 1.55 is my absolute max. Um, I'd be more happy at 1.5. Yeah, 4K is tough, especially overkill because um, I'm not even sure I would be able to run overkill on this platform. I would have to actually go dual rank. I would have to no, not dual rank. I'd have to put in 4 DIMMs, or I'd have to find a way of really stripping the OS because 4K overkill within in like four gigs of RAM is not really possible. Let's put it that way. So 83 degrees currently, 85. This might pass. Okay, famous last words. Let's give it just a tiny little bit of extra voltage, just the slightest smidgen. Oops. Not quite sure why that locked up, but okay. 1.25. Wow. And do you find that these monster ambient chips do well on cold? Because my golden G3258 is not that great on ambient. Still, it needs like 1.4 something to pass 32M at 5G. Okay, let's try that again, shall we? So I have a 4.9 gigahertz pass at 100 BCLK. So now I'm having to drop below 4.9. So I'll have to watch for the score actually being better because I may have to just go down in RAM speed. Six G for 4770K. 6G isn't like insanely good though, is it? Let's check. Yeah, that's pretty average. But minus 100 is quite hot, so Okay, that run seems to be finishing. 6.8 valid. Yeah, that's good for a retail chip. Um, yeah, but you know what? I'm not a big fan. I mean, I understand why people do it, but I'm not a big fan of this idea of actually spending time on checking temperature scaling on LN2. You want to know what the chip does at the cold bug. You know, you get my point. Like, I don't care if it hits 6G at minus 30 and doesn't go above 6G at full pot. What good is that to me? There's never, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as I know, there's never been a competition that was like temperature limited to minus 97 degrees. So what what difference does that make? You know, um, there's all kinds of people who always talk about how that chip did really well at like minus 150 and then it stopped scaling. I don't even know those numbers on my chips. Um, Skylake, uh, KV Lake, Coffee Lake is different because you have such huge cracking issues that there I can understand why you put, and you've got cold bugs, cold boot bugs sometimes. So I can understand why people take the time to do benches in between full pot and ambient. Um, Single stage, of course, I can understand because it doesn't go colder. I can understand why people would have a result at minus 50 or whatever. But on LN2, what are you doing not full pot if it goes full pot? And on Haswell, what are you doing above like minus 120 or whatever the cold bug of that chip is? Find the cold bug and bench at it, you know? And yes, I have found chips where it will actually bench better, sort of a little bit warmer. So let's say the cold bug is minus 130. It might actually be happiest at minus 120. And that, of course, is an exception. If the best results are to be found at a different temp, that's completely different. Yes, this is like an OCN hangout right now. Okay, so we've got a pass. So maybe the minus, so let's see, we got 95 degrees. That's probably as high as we want to go. So now let's simply rerun real-time mode. Oh, binned on Cascade. Okay, that makes sense. That is something that I would like to have Cascade for is as well. A Cascade did come up for sale. If anyone knows the retired Australian overclocker Kyle, Kiyl or double L, he also made Cascades besides being a great overclocker. And there was a Kale unit for sale, but it was like I don't know, 12-hour drive away. Australia is big, so 12-hour drive is actually not that far away. And I was tempted by it, but I'm on the first floor here, and getting a Cascade unit that's 50 kgs onto the first floor, um, almost 19 FPS. So real time did make a difference here. So I need motherboard tab for sure. For sure, you need motherboard tab. So my previous sub, I do have a 20 FPS sub on SS, but that's not part of the competition. That was last year. And I don't know if it's the same chip as this. I may have mixed up IHSs, so that happens when everything is when you're binning multiple chips and they're all delidded, you can easily mix up IHSs. So my previous sub was an 18.777. Okay, cool. So motherboard tab is mandatory. I know it's not genuine. There we go. Sweet. Our first legit result of the day. So now our task is to to pass 19, to get past 19 somehow. Let's go up in, so that, I think that voltage scores well. Embedded. What do you mean by that? I don't know. I didn't even know there was an embedded version of Windows 7. And even if I had known there was one, I certainly don't see any reason why it would be used for benching. But maybe you can enlighten me to an insane tweak. Windows 9 for x264? Or x265 rather. I mix those up sometimes. So let's go up in 0.1 steps. 0.1 BCLK steps. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I'll throw that on my notepad. Yeah, so we really seem to be right on the edge there. Let's give the bench a restart. And I don't know if I should try more volts. We were kind of on the edge with 95 degrees there, so yeah, I know what embedded OSs are used for in general. I just haven't kept up with them. I knew there was Windows CE, there was a Windows XP version that's embedded. That's actually the reason why Windows XP got um, end of life so late, because of all the embedded stuff around. I just haven't thought of it for benching, so that's going in my box of tricks. Thanks for that idea. Okay, so we're back down to what we were, and let's do real time again. So streamlist is a new command I added in case anyone feels like checking it out. I think it's useful. It will give you a list of all the streams I've done, and linked in here are the YouTube VODs. So if I click on this, it would be the YouTube of that particular stream. Some of these are lost, and I have an upcoming stream section that I will add to, and I do take suggestions. And then here I try to do some sort of like a breakdown by architecture and so on. So my most streamed thing is, well, on LN2 it's actually Haswell for Intel. For AMD side it would be Threadripper and AM4. My most streamed on Ambient with 4 streams is DNAB, which is hardly surprising because I think AM3 is the best platform of all time. Okay, 18.957. Is that literally scored slightly worse? Let's do, what should we do? Let's do an overkill run. So for those who are unaware, overkill lets you put the render window off screen like that, so that helps with CPU cycles sometimes. Neat and chill. What do you mean by neat? Like literally neat as in tidied up? Or but thanks for the either way it's a compliment, so thanks. Yeah, if you ever go back to like Livestream 5, which I think is the earliest, or Livestream 3 is the earliest thing that I still have a video of, you'll see that I used to be on ADSL internet, so my stream quality, video quality was awful, extremely bad. So yeah, I've sort of improved it over time, over the 2 years or so that I've been streaming. I'm not sure I ever thought I would get to 50 streams, but I'm glad I did. It's so much fun. It's the only reason I do it. I mean, right now is September, so subscriptions, subs on Twitch are half price. So if you were thinking about subbing, do it now. But I certainly don't like focus on that part of my stream. I just do it for the. I mean, part of it, to be honest, is I'd be benching right now anyway. So why not stream a bench session? For LN2, it's a little bit of a different story. I do have a number of LN2 streams that I've done, but it's certainly harder to manage an LN2 stream. So very often, if I'm really trying to get a score out, I'll do it off stream. But for ambient stuff, yeah, the stream is a little distracting or whatever, but you're not wasting any LN2 talking to the chat or whatever. You swear too much? The Gunzy? Well, fuck, I swear a lot when I bench as well. So here we got our overkill result, and it basically scored the same. So we had a 974, and this is yeah. So we're basically sort of maxed out. One more thing I can try is real time off screen. You won't see the progress of that, but let's give that a run. Let's actually just have a look at temps. The way the fan is spinning, I have a feeling we're not really like fully back down to idle temps again. Package is at 30, okay. That's alright. Ah, forgot. Shit. Real-time overkill is never fun because it's hard to quit out of it. That was a mistake. Yeah, the encoder's still running. Okay, I have to reboot. Why should that be a problem? I mean, admittedly, YouTube does have issues with swearing, but I think I get too few views for anyone to give a shit about swearing in my VODs. If I were live streaming on YouTube, then maybe that would be an issue. It's certainly not an issue on Twitch. You just mark your stream as mature and away you go. But yeah, I see your point that maybe you'll put people off by swearing. I don't do it a lot, but definitely anytime a run is lost because of like a hang on screenshot or whatever, I'll definitely swear about that. I'll tell you that much. Okay, let's do a non-overkill real-time off-screen run, and then I think we should be good to go. I might do a 4K as well. Okay. Yeah, so in terms of what I have coming up, what do I see myself realistically streaming in the coming weeks? Demeanor. Okay. So what? Just out of curiosity, what kind of streams do you watch? Is it gaming streams? Because gaming, I find that gaming can be a bit more sort of, I don't know how to describe it. It's sort of, it's just a more exciting activity, like inherently. So I don't blame game streamers for being more sort of agitated. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, then again, a lot of streamers are younger and just are a bit more excitable, I suppose. Oh, you think other streams using LN2 are? Yeah, that's right. So if you're talking about the Gamers Nexus, Steponzi, Jay's 2 Cent, and Billzoid LN2 streams, which to the best of my knowledge are the only streams that are really happening right now in the world, LN2 wise. Yeah, they can be a bit more hypey and stuff. I should mention you only watch OC streams. Well done, GTI. You're doing the Lord's work here. No, that was a joke, just in case anyone is taking that seriously. No, you are doing the good work though. So that was slower as well. So now let's do a real time 4K. Yeah. So okay. So the story there is that, let me be completely fair. I mean, okay. First of all, really really important, guys. Even if I'm critical of other streamers, I think that in general there's not enough OC streaming in the world, basically, anywhere. You go on YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, whatever, there's not enough OC streaming, and there's certainly not enough LM2 streaming. So when I started, and that's May 2018, so what, a year and a half ago, um, there was literally just Billzoid and Dr. Wheeze, um, and they're still in the game. I think Billzoid streams, when they do happen, are very good. He is, in a lot of ways, sort of the granddaddy of OC streaming, even though he's like 10 years younger than me. But he's done so much of it over the years that he like really knows how to do it. And I enjoy his streams. Very often I can't catch them live, so that's a shame just because of the time difference. But his streams are great, but they're not frequent enough. So his focus is more on YouTube. He spends, he just looks at it pragmatically and thinks, um, what do I want? Do I want like whatever he gets? I don't know. Let's say he gets 10,000 views on his typical YouTube clip versus maybe 100 viewers on a live stream. Um, and maybe the live stream actually takes more work. So if a live stream is 3 hours long and you've got a couple of hours of prep, I reckon you can knock out a YouTube clip in less than 5 hours. So he just has practical concerns, I think, and that's why he does more YouTube than Twitch. But his streams, when they happen, are great. And he's rated my stream before. He throws me a lot of viewers via restreaming, via just whatever. So I'm very grateful for that. But he just doesn't stream enough. But he has legitimate reasons for that. Dr. Wheeze is kind of the overclocker stream. Um, a lot of the other streams are more casual based. Dr. Wheeze's streams, I've watched some of them live. He doesn't get a lot of viewers because he has two little kids. He talks about this all the time on his stream. So I don't think there's any issue with me like talking about it too. Um, I don't personally know the guy or anything. I just know this from his stream. This is public information. He like has his own business that he's really busy with, and he has two little kids that he's really busy with. And he hasn't streamed a lot recently, but when he does stream, his streams are excellent, absolutely excellent. They're so much more technical than any of the other streams. I find a lot of the other streams, again, like I said at the beginning, um, I welcome any kind of overclocking streaming. If it's a bit too hypey, if it's a little bit too um, like aimed at noobs or whatever, I don't care. I want any overclocking streaming because odds are when you sit down at night and you casually want to watch an overclocking stream while you're benching yourself or while you're just chilling out, there's not going to be anyone live in the world doing overclocking streaming. So there should be more of it. I encourage anyone to take it up. Um, but just my sort of critique would be Billzoid's stream is amazing, Dr. Weeze's stream is amazing, just not enough of them. I stream once a week, which in the grand scheme of streaming, if you compare it to game streamers, a lot of them who are like basically semi full time, um, I don't stream enough. If you looked at like my channel's analytics or whatever, even though I don't look at them a lot, I don't stream enough. But in terms of overclocking streaming, I actually stream the most out of anyone. There is an asterisk, Stepanzi, who's only just getting started but has a lot of traction. As I'm dropping frames, just gonna wait for that to pass. Yeah, so Stepanzi gets a lot of traction because he drove up to wherever Gamers Nexus is based and did an LN2 stream with them, and then he got thrown viewers and views on his YouTube clips and stuff through them. But his live streams, I do actually, those are the live streams I watch the most myself live, because they happen to be on a weekday during the day, my time, so I can catch them. I think he's still finding his feet. Yeah, sorry, I did try to pause for those drop frames, but I think we should be good again now. Um, I do catch him live. I like his streams. He can be a bit YOLO sometimes, like the way he killed his Kingpin card the other day when he knew it was having issues already. I guess that's the benefit of having connects in the industry, which, to be honest, I don't really have too much. I don't get free shit. I buy everything myself. But yeah, the way he killed his card and stuff, I do have some like criticisms of him. But the great thing about Stepanzi is he streams once or twice a week, usually twice a week, and his streams are convenient time zone wise for me. He gets decent viewership, so that's great. I hope he does more of it. He does AMD and Intel, and I can tell you, very few people do AMD and Intel like he does. I do. Um, I'm not sure what Billzoid has been streaming recently, but in the past he was a big AMD guy, certainly on the GPU side. But yeah, so a run is done. I will go back to that, but let me just compare that run to what I already have up. So that was a 4.475, and what's my current run? Nah, I got a 4.7 on SS. Okay, there's no point in spending more time on X265. Let's pick out a bench that I haven't benched yet on this chip. W prime 32. Let's do that. Hopefully I have it on this image. Is my... Yeah. I haven't done 1M before, but I would have to switch OSs for that. Do I really want to install Ice Storm? Yeah, let's install Ice Storm. By the way, if anyone... Oh, God. If anyone has a newer version of 3D Mark packaged up like this, I'd be really interested, because HarborBot removed... HarborBot basically removed like the direct link to a cloud-hosted package of 3D Mark, which is, Firestrike, whatever, all of those benches. And the current version of 3D Mark is actually 2 point, as I'm getting more drop frames, 2 point, what's going on, internet? I think it's 2.10, whereas I'm stuck with 2.6, and I've seen more drop frames. Okay, hopefully that little hiccup is over. I've seen gains, at least on AMD cards. What the hell is going on here? My Windows installer version service is stopped. I've seen gains with the newer version, for Firestrike especially on AMD cards. So if anyone has that packaged up, that'd be great. Okay, so coming back to the live streaming, so Jay's 2 cents. I know he's huge as a YouTuber, but I don't necessarily like him. He's said a lot of very opinionated. Okay, let's just give this thing a reboot. Jay's has said a lot of very opinionated and plain wrong things. Sorry, my internet is just refusing to cooperate. Oh, has it recovered? Just as I typed that. Oh no, it hasn't. No, okay, no reboot. I won't reboot. Okay, so I keep an eye on it though. I've just dropped my stream quality. Hopefully that will. Nice. Pay the bills. Yeah, I wish. I wish that was the only issue. Yeah, bitrate is still bouncing around a lot, but yeah. All right. I basically dropped the quality to half, or the bitrate rather. Um, no signature present. Okay. I'll be back.